Yeah, I mean, when I describe Joe to people, I mean, usually I start off by saying like, the only thing we have in common is we have the same parents, and we have the
Yeah.
same last name. I said basically we're completely different
Yeah, you
people.
guys are very different.
My brother he is really into the arts, specifically like musicals and the Broadway scene and things of that nature. He lives in New York City. He does the Broadway stuff. He's director, choreographer, writer, you name it. He's involved in it. I mean, he always has his hand in something. He can't sit still, and he's been that way since he's been like 3 years old.
Yeah.
He's always. It's like there's not many people in this world that I say that like, hey, when you were a kid and you thought like, oh, when somebody asks you, what do you want to be when you grow up, and like a lot of people say, I want to be a doctor, or I want to be this, or it's like, no.
Astronaut.
My brother knew exactly what he wanted to do when he was like, probably like 5 or 6 years old, and after he saw The Wizard of Oz for the first time, um, in the movie. And then here in Pacifica, there was a local theater that was putting on a play of The Wizard of Oz. And he saw the sign on Highway 1 from the car and asked my mom to uh, bring him to the audition because he wanted to be in the show.
That's so cool.
And my mom was like, okay, like whatever. And he was just a little kid at the time, and but they gave him a part as like one of the Munchkins, like like he was the Munchkin, like that one scene where they're in Munchkin Land and
Yeah.
in Wizard of Oz. He was just like he had like a 2 minute scene in the entire show as a 6 year old or whatever. But it was from that moment forward that he was a part of that show that all he wanted to do in life was musicals and plays and whatever had to do with acting and singing and dancing and all that stuff. And he knew that the only way, the best place in the world to do that was on Broadway in New York City.
Yeah.
And so he's had this goal in his mind, since then, and he's basically been living his dream. Like he's right
Yeah.
after college, he moved there. He's just started his own little theater company, and he's done way more jobs than just his own. And he takes jobs at on location too. Like he's flown to Italy and choreographed something there for like 6 weeks. He's been to Korea, Shanghai, and like he's been to Michigan State has hired him twice as like for their spring production or whatever,
Yeah.
like, and it's like he gets put up with room and board all these places. It's like living the big time,
I'm
It's
so
like,
jealous of that bastard, man. Here I am,
yeah,
34 years old. I still don't even know what I want to do with my life. And this guy's tackled it since 5. God
yeah.
damn it, Joe. Bastard.
Yeah, so he's definitely had a lot of fun with it. But I mean, but even like, our childhood and stuff, it's like I played sports growing up. I was pretty much just an athlete. I was always doing something. Joe tried sports. He wasn't really into it. He stuck with basketball a little bit, but I think he did it more to make my dad happy that he was just doing one sport,
Yeah.
But my dad didn't care. I mean,
Yeah.
Joe was also the type where it's like, we all pretty much knew he was gay, and it just, he came. I think he came out when he was like, I think like right when he started his freshman year, because he didn't go to Terra Nova like most people in Pacifica just transitioned to Terra Nova. He was so into the arts that he went to an art school in San Francisco, in the city, and at that school was a lot smaller student body, and there were a lot of people like Joe, a lot of
Yeah.
gay people, or just a lot of different people,
Unique. Yeah.
a lot of very unique people, and not all of them were gay,
Yeah.
but I think that was just the environment that he just felt immediately comfortable that I like, oh yeah, I can come out like right now, and like it's not a big deal,
Yeah.
like because so many other people already did. Whereas like he was going to school here where it's like, yeah, people kind of thought, but there wasn't that like gay kid, no one really came out, and it was
Yeah.
still really, really interesting at the late 90s, with all of that. It's
Yeah.
not like today where I think it would be easier for somebody in the 6th or 7th grade to come out.
Yeah.
So I think like the 9th grade, like he was more public about it. And I remember him telling me, and I was like a 7th grader, at the
Mhm.
time. And I was just like, I think me deep down was like, for like at the, like right when he told me, I was like, almost like a little mad because I was like, yeah, I'm still holding out for my big brother to,
Yeah. Yeah.
just, like the guy I look up to or whatever. But then, I think like 10 minutes later, I was like, yeah, we all knew. It's no
Yeah.
big deal. It's like, it
Yeah.
doesn't
And
really change anything.
yeah, and I think it's okay and fair for you to have that that immediate reaction because of the time, you know.
Yeah.
Um, it just it was hard to be gay in the 90s.
Oh, yeah.
Now it's like you said, it's just so different, and it's still not like that everywhere. There are
Yeah. No, it's
still the
still definitely
places that are,
really hard,
yeah.
but
But
more and more accepted
yeah,
today.
yeah,
You know,
and I
20
don't want
years
to and I don't want
ago.
to take away from what Joe, I'm sure, has had to experience and deal with, but he is lucky that he was gay in the area he was raised in. San Francisco has been one of the forefronts of that. The Bay
Oh,
Area
yeah.
has been, and he's also very lucky that he had the parents he had, and like your parents are by far the coolest, most like accepting people I've ever met in my life. You're one of my best friends because you're the same. Like you're just a cool ass dude. Not to
Appreciate
get
it.
all mushy with you where people will
Hey,
see
man.
it, but
We
um
are talking about Pride Month. It's cool, man.
yeah, but it's just like if there's one person I could think of in this world that was gonna have the support, it's Joe. Not, but I wanna stress, doesn't mean he had it easy. I'm sure that whole time was probably very stressful for him.
Yeah.
But I always hear these horror stories of like people coming out to their parents and their parents disowning them. Like that's
Yeah,
just
that's the
sickening,
worst part
dude.
about that whole community is like people getting disowned
Yeah,
basically
like
because of their personal preferences.
yeah, like I
And it's just
just
like I get it that there's a lot of people and rough people out there with like these, religious beliefs really sort of cloud people's judgment in this arena. And, it's like you need to really, these are the things where you need to really take a step back and really, evaluate these situations for yourself and not what a book is telling you.
yeah,
This is where you need to be a human, and you need to understand what's going on inside the other human and
yeah,
how it affects you as a human.
yeah,
And you don't really need a whole lot of outside influence there to help you do that.
yeah,
That's the point,
exactly.
you
Yeah,
know?
I
And so, yeah. I
yeah,
mean, and the other thing I want to touch on is like my brother too is just like his character and his personality is so infectious that like irregardless of his sexuality, it's like he's the type of person that owns a room when he
oh
walks
yeah,
into it. He loves a microphone.
yeah,
Like if he doesn't have one, he doesn't fucking need one.
yeah,
It's like he will still own that room.
yeah,
And it's like he will get you going. If you look like you're having like a shitty day, like he will pick you out of a crowd for a reason and make everyone know your name because it's like he wants to get something out of you.
yeah,
You know what I mean? Like, oh, the dude is just endless amounts of energy and ideas. The wheels never stop spinning. That's why, like, growing up as a kid, like, my dad used to have to wrestle him to go to bed. It's like, oh, I just got to finish this for school, blah, blah, blah. And, like, my dad would walk downstairs, like, 3 in the morning. My brother would be like this at the computer, like, he just passed out. Like, Joe, go to bed. Like, oh, I'm sorry. It's like,
yeah.
just never, never quits working,
That's awesome, man.